Hey, thank you for tuning in and welcome to Night Errant. I'm Ronin, and with me tonight I have
Nickster.
This guy.
I don't know why I do this, but hi.
Nickster, who, as you may or may not know, is my first wife.
Absolutely, your first and your last. We have technically been married for what, 25 years now?
25 years. Oh, not.
Jeez, you're old.
Right back at you. You see, he keeps calling me old. He's like 11 months younger than I am. No, but on a more serious note, Nickster and I have been friends for 25 years this summer.
Yeah. 25 years, that's a long time of being besties.
Yeah. I think a lot of my grey hair is actually your fault.
I hope so. Right, back at you.
But I dragged Nickster along here for some wargaming and 40k stuff and battle reports, and obviously now we have to... Hello. And obviously now we have to get drunk and complain about how everything was better in the old days.
Yes, because I like 8th edition. It's very balanced, it's very... Everything is smooth and polished, and everything is vanilla ice cream, which is nice.
I like vanilla.
I like vanilla too, but sometimes I do miss licorice ice cream, which was a thing when I was a kid. And one of the things I miss in my codex, and I've missed for the last few editions, is the Doom of Malantine.
Oh God.
No, seriously, I miss these monstrosities that you could kind of throw in backfield and could just, with the possibility of wreaking havoc without really. And I like the possibilities of these things. I really miss that.
Well, yes, you were the one playing it. Facing the Doom of Malantine is horrifying. It was horribly unfair. It was a throwback to the old days of fantasy battle, where you might as well just use cardboard markers for your rank and file troops,
because they were all
just going to pulverize in seconds.
Exactly, it was such a joy.
It was glorious.
But also the way that they have shaped, when we are in that zone, the way they've shaped zoanthropes.
Yeah.
They have changed dramatically just since 7th edition. 7th edition, they had these lances and blasts which could annihilate tanks.
That's true.
They could really wreak havoc, and you had them. They had to do a ballistic skill, which was horrible in itself. But now that it's a smite, and if you have more zoanthropes, it's a bigger smite. They have longer range, which is a glorious way for Games Workshop to get you to buy more zoanthropes, because more zoanthropes, more boom. And that's kind of the thing that irks me a little bit about this edition, is there are, at least for turn, there are a lot of these additional boosts to your army that only comes into play when you have enough models on the playing field. Hormagons, they get an extra attack if they're 20 or more.
Gene Stealers.
Gene Stealers are a prime example. Termagants with their to wound. And
in all fairness, they did that in 7th as well with the detachments. The what were they called?
I never really played into that a lot.
The host, not if you had a certain combination of units, you would get extra detachments.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I think it's more. It's more open now. I don't know how it is for other codices at this point.
I think actually the zoanthrope take on it is a good example. It's sort of a microcosm of the whole change from 7th to 8th. Most of the weapons feel exactly the same. Yeah. They just have slightly different stats.
Very much so.
Yeah. Two editions ago, a plasma cannon felt like a plasma cannon. It was this kapoof, and you had this like a small blast, and it would completely obliterate if it hit. And other weapons would do things entirely different. You would have bright lancers that would have the lance effect, lowering armor value 12 plus to 12.
Were actually dangerous to leave on the field, because
they had different weapons with different feels to it. But now it's like you have basically the same weapon with +1 to armor piercing or +1 to strength, and it feels less different, less adverse somehow.
There are also, as I see it, less. And it's a strange mix because I have more options to diversify my different models. For example, the carnifex can be outfitted in so many ways, but at the same time, I feel more constricted somehow, more
constipated.
That often close to you. No, I feel more. I feel like I've kind of fallen into the same rhythm every time because
more limited.
More limited. Even though I have more options, it's a weird mix.
Yeah, but a lot of the options feel sort of the same. I mean, I think it's a great addition, and I'm having a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah,
already. Right. Fair enough. I do miss some of the insane stuff from early editions. The Doom of Malantine is an extreme example from a fairly late edition, that was 6th, yeah? Then they changed it to the newer Throat, which had sort of the same, it was like a mini Doom of Malantine. Yeah. But that one in particular in 6th edition, you dropped it down, it ate everything within like an 8-inch radius or something, just died. And if you didn't stop it, it would just grow to like 12, 20 wounds. It would, if you didn't stop it early, you would die.
If you don't remember it or don't know it, it basically has a spirit leech where it leached from every unit within X amount of inches.
Yeah.
And all the wounds it leached, it regained as wounds, and the amount of wounds it had meant how strong its attack was. So it basically its strength just kept kind of snowballing and building, and every time it did an attack, that would drain off its wounds, which it could also regain from its normal attacks. So it was kind of this. If it got into kind of a power zone, it was extremely difficult to manage.
I would use the Blood Angels, Death Company Dreadnoughts with blood claws, which would just generate more attacks that generated more attacks that generated more attacks. I ended up playing an orc player with mega knobs. At a certain point you just said, let's just stop here, they're dead, okay? Fair enough.
But I think it's now that I'm sitting here trying to contemplate about it, I think it's a lot of. It's got a lot to do with the time we're in. It's a lot of this, I don't know, everyone gets a trophy kind of thing, and we're all so offended by stuff, and it's if you look at RPG as well, everything is balanced now. 5th edition, Dungeons and Dragons, everything is so balanced, everything is so boiled down.
Warcraft.
Yeah, I remember back in just 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, or 2nd edition, if you played a mage and you made it past the few first levels, you became powerful, and it's less of a thing now.
I mean, sticking to Games Workshop alone, I think you have sort of the same development
it's
there.
That kind of
I remember the first couple of editions of 40k and Fantasy Battle, where it was just horrendously imbalanced.
It was still fun though.
But you could hack the system. You really could. You could min-max your way to obliterating anything. And any tournament would have a large number of limitations of what you could bring because the game was not balanced.
I think it's a good idea, of course, to try and find some balance, because there will always be idiots in tournaments who take huge advantage of any kind of.
Yeah, there still are to some extent, but it's less of a problem now than it used to be. I mentioned that the tournament I was in a fantasy battle tournament, where one player had an army entirely consisting of high elf princes on dragons. The other armies could not shoot at, but they could fly around like 4 levels of flying up high. There were different levels, different altitudes. Just fly around and drop rocks on the enemy. That's all that happened in that game. Like, okay, my turn, I can't do anything. Your turn, rocks fall, everyone dies.
And as Errant said, where did they get the rocks? Not important.
No.
There you have them.
Yes, they would fly off somewhere, pick up more rocks and come back.
Ridiculous.
As a friend of mine said back then, it had large enough holes in it. The rule system had large enough holes in it for you to be able to push Space Hulk through it.
Speaking of holes, we should
Good lord already.
I miss Playerama.
Clayrama.
Playerama.
I'm not sure anyone knows what Clayrama is.
Playerama. Okay, Playerama.
I think it's been mentioned in an Errant, Night Errant before, hasn't it?
Okay.
I
For
think
you
so.
who uninitiated. Oh god.
We may end up. We may finish each other's sentences.
Sandwiches. Yeah.
Sandwiches.
Playerama. You are equipped with a bucket of Play-Doh, and then you have a set amount of time to sit down and create your monster, your model, your whatever you're going to war with, and the movement capabilities it has defines how much movement it has. Its weapon defines what weapons it has, and it can have some special effects on top of normal attacks, like for example if it has a huge hammer, that could be the stomp, which is depicted by you actually being able to take off your shoe and stomp the other Play-Doh miniature. Or a big catapult where you can basically just take it and fling it into a wall.
Yeah, I broke a window like that once.
Or the one I got to stick into the ceiling of the hall we played in. That was fantastic.
I think we decided that if it didn't come down within the next half hour, it would just be dead. This is the blob of Play-Doh hanging in the ceiling,
but trust
5-6 meters up.
Trust me. If you ever want to play a game while having a drink and having a laugh, Playerama is your game.
It should be Googleable.
Yeah, I think it is. Playerama,
Yeah.
the rules are very basic, and it's very much up to the game master what you're equipped with in the end.
And that's sort of how we met.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
was
or
a
became
clear-
friends at least.
You were the game master, and you were so cool.
Oh yeah.
And I was lucky to be your friend.
I was the extremely cool Clayorama game master, 18 years old.
I remember the first time you said something to me. I was in a painting competition. I was doing everything horribly because I had no idea what I was doing. But here I was, and you basically said, "I would put on some shading on that." How do you do that? And you taught me the first technique of mixing paint with water and doing a little shading.
Right.
I'm still the worst one in the competition, but at least that shades.
Yeah, fewer options, but then and they've come a long way, Citadel Paints, with the whole washers and places and what have they.
I painted back then. I'm kind of sad that I.
Yeah, these days you just have me do it for you.
Yeah. Well, you
I have an entire army standing here that.
Everything I play, that guy.
As I've mentioned before, we co-own a Tyranid army that I paint and he tries to kill me with.
That was actually the way he got me to play. It was I know you like to play Tyranids, right? I love to play Tyranids, but I just can't see myself really investing in an army. But I have one. And he has had haggled his way to a playable Tyranid army, very playable, and since then we've just kind of been adding on to it. And
yeah, they have gone through some changes though, haven't they? I seem to remember something about, was it spore mines just pulverizing 1/3 of the opponent's army if you.
That's another thing I actually miss. I see good things and bad things about it, but I miss pipe plates.
Yes.
It's very convenient that you can just put all your hammer guns in one big handful and just go poof, here they are, you don't have to worry about it. But at the same time I miss the whole nitpicking about setting up to avoid pie plates of this and this and that.
And it was part of the different weapons feeling different.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I know there are a lot of Letus players out there who love their Biowars and they have 39 Biowars and can rain down mortal wounds everywhere. I don't find them as cool as they were.
No.
Back then, sure, strength 4 is not a lot, but just that pie plate feel of just being able to just lay down hits on hits on hits. It was. I thought it was fun. I like the scatter die feel. I like that you had that sense of randomness to that as well. It was
Agreed.
It was more fun. You had to kind of calculate in your head if you could actually hit that, and then you would have to measure. To see
and
if
you couldn't pre-measure.
No.
I remember, again, going back to earlier editions of Fantasy, back when you had to guess how far you had to fire a cannon and stuff like that.
People were insane with their eye measurement.
True.
It was incredible, and I can't help feeling a little sorry for people who's developed these abilities to just being able to measure down to a tenth of an inch, and now they can't use it for anything.
Not really, no.
So I see your wall is 76 inches tall.
That is a very specific skill set you have right there.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to fire cannons at goblins. I'm sorry. I'm not sure it's a marketable skill these days.
And now I don't only measure it to see how long I can spit.
No, but I remember it was firing a cannon back in like 2nd edition Fantasy Battle or 3rd edition. It was fun. Yes, it took skill and it was fun.
And sure, you need some skill. You need I mean, you've proven that having a tactical advantage and knowing the rules is actually a benefit.
Knowing the rules is a benefit. Yeah, it's like things like using your stratagems and paying command points, and it might get you an
to the best of their
advantage.
ability. Yeah,
It can be.
yeah, I know. But there was a little bit more interactiveness to it in the olden days.
That's true. It was more analog.
Yeah, and
somehow.
now it's and I still feel that it's part of this new. Everything is an app these days. You have Wikipedia to remind you everything. It's actually been proven that the human capacity for memory has decreased since we got Google.
God, you're old.
Yeah, I know, but it's true, and it plays into everything has to be easy. You don't have to you can measure it beforehand, because otherwise you might get offended and be oh no, I thought it was that, but it wasn't.
Yeah, this brings up the Danish expression.
It's good for me because I suck at these things.
Fair enough. No, but it reminds me of the Danish expression "ingen arm, ingen kage."
Yeah,
no arms, no cake.
Yeah.
As in, if you can't guess...
If you're an invalid, nothing for you.
No, sorry. Basically. I mean, it's horrifying.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
But it's like, if you can't... If you don't have a pretty decent idea of how far your cannon is from that unit of orcs, you're probably not going to hit them. Tough.
Yeah. It's more realistic, right?
It is.
Yeah, if you're shooting at orcs,
yes.
Realistically.
But I mean, Games Workshop has changed enormously over the last 25, 30 years, and it's become less by the geeks, for the geeks, and it's become more by game designers for stockholders. I mean, it's a business, and it's been moved in that direction far more than this is fun and this is really cool and let's play death metal while we kill orcs.
But let's be honest. We're gonna sound like our grandparents and our parents, but things were cooler.
There was a cool factor that seems to be lessened.
And I don't know. Maybe I honestly think I don't know enough about what goes on with new games, and I probably don't follow trends as well as I should, but it just seems like everything has to be easily accessible, and has to be able to access it fast.
Yeah.
No one wants to wait. It has to be fast-paced, everything.
Yeah.
And I see it in computer games too. Less grinding, more.
Less steep learning curves.
Yeah.
That's
Even
true.
though there are things where we can see there's a kind of a renaissance of let's get back to the gritty nitty, where it's really difficult and where you're punished if you suck at something.
There are certain games, that's true. Good.
But I still love the game. Absolutely, it's not about that. It's about their.
It's far more forgiving these
it is,
days.
It is.
Which
is good in a friendly match. But I can see why some of the older players have had a little bit of a negative.
Yeah, spending a decade trying to be able to measure
exactly
by looking at a table, knowing exactly how much 17 inches is. But now you can use it for absolutely nothing.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's different. It's more accessible, I should say. That's an important part of it. And seen from a corporate point of view, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Does it take away some of the coolness? Yes, I think it does. But does it mean more players get to join? Yes, absolutely. And that's a plus in itself.
And that's also, I mean, they're here to make money. It's an industry, and it's a growing industry.
You can't knock a company for wanting to make money.
No, absolutely not. And then again, I can still get a little bit irked by the fact that you have to buy more homer guns, you have to buy more turbo guns, you have to buy more gene stealers, you have to buy more zone throws in order to get these bonuses. If you want these bonuses, you have to buy more of our products in order to play your army to the best of their ability. I think, in all honesty, that philosophy sucks. It's basically, hey, if you want to have this, you need to buy this DLC.
Pretty much. It's in the ballpark.
Yeah. Unless you get the DLC itself is a completely new game, then cool. But it's not. It's basically, if you want this unit to play to the best of the ability, buy more. And
there's a certain amount of
me a little bit.
A certain amount of pay to win, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Yeah. It's loot crates. Microtransactions.
Don't give them any ideas.
Okay, I'm pretty sure they already have. That was for role playing. I saw someone just for a prank saying loot crates for role playing games. So you could buy for money. You could buy loot crates with X amount of magic items. It was a total joke on the microtransactions from specifically. What was it, Battlefront? That got all the negative backlash.
Right, yes, yeah. I seem to remember something like that. So how long is it going to take for Games Workshop to start selling like scratch cards? You pay £5 and you get a scratch card and you get like a random bonus for your unit.
Oh, like they did for Munchkin, you remember that?
Oh, God,
we were, at one point we were at Gamescom playing Munchkin.
Yeah.
And this guy, I beep, you're not.
You can say shit, it's okay.
I said you're not! He had this cutout card for Munchkin, which he had taken off some cardboard box. It was a Munchkin card that gave him some bonus, and you could only get this card if you had this box that you bought at some point.
Yeah.
And he could. It was like, yeah, I have this Munchkin card and I can play that. It was just like, no, what?
In a tournament.
In a tournament, yeah.
Yeah.
He just took out his private stash of, here you go. I brought this from home.
I have this token which gives me an advantage over the other people in this tournament. Like, okay, you're going down.
And you kicked his ass.
Well, actually, I was really lucky, but yes, no, he was obliterated in like 10 minutes flat. It was glorious.
Remember, we just looked at each other and we just went, okay. Right.
But it's in the rules, yeah. But I mean, I'm not. The thing is, doesn't that go against what we've been saying about this whole the element of chaos, the differentiating.
How dare you go against what we've just said? Undermining everything.
Yes.
Our sound logic.
It needs to be equally accessible to everyone. That's what we've just been slagging off.
Sure, you can go ahead and just kind of use arguments and facts.
You can prove anything with logic.
And facts.
No, but that did seem like an unfair advantage in a tournament. It really did. It made it less fun for everyone else involved, which is kind of a no-no. if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I play tournaments for fun. I realise I'm a white whale.
But we've all seen this in tournaments, and it should be okay. There are people who don't play for fun; they play to win. They don't really care about anything else. They just want to win, and honestly, it's okay. I don't mind it. It's if that's what floats their boats, then okay.
Whatever rocks your goat. I saw someone saying that in a 40k group recently, as in I don't play tournaments for fun. As in, of course I don't. Like, what do you play tournaments for?
Yeah, but
the cash prizes?
No, yeah, maybe because
there aren't any.
No, but the thing is, or maybe just the possibility of going home and looking himself in the mirror and saying, "I want something."
Yay.
No, don't knock how important that can be for people's self-esteem or self-worth.
Okay, that's a fair point.
We all get different things out of situations in different ways.
That is a fair point, and we do play the game differently, etc., etc.
And I love to play friendly matches because they're fun. I would never play in a tournament because I'm just not that kind of player, and I know I don't know the rules well enough. I'm not tactically aware enough to do all these things, so I stay away.
Yeah.
There are some people who really like that, and when you go into a tournament, you have to accept that there are people there who are all about winning.
That's true. As Lisel,
if you have any sport, play any sport, there are people there who will do anything to win.
Yeah. As Lisel from Lisel Made put it, and I keep quoting her on this one because it keeps like, popping up and being extremely relevant in games and LARPing in all walks of life. Make sure you're playing the same game as the other kids.
Yeah. And you can't do that in a tournament where you play for a trophy, where you play for something where you actually need to win.
Yeah. So
it's
you can
the competitor's edge. I mean,
I guess we can grumble as much as we want, going things were better in the old days. But I think maybe that's the golden rule. Make sure you're playing the same game as the other kids.
And also in reality, maybe as old as we are, accept that everything changes and it should, because everything. I mean, it's. If water in the pool stays the same and stagnant, right? Did I just get philosophical?
No,
philosophical?
Close, but no.
Close enough. You need to change the water once in a while. You need to change things up. You need to, and sometimes you need to take a step back to realize that it wasn't better, and then change it up again.
True. Yeah.
So, we just got a sign that we're about to be cut off.
You guys have been rambling.
And as you can see, I'm clearly out of things to drink, which means I'm about to get either boring or rowdy.
Same. So, stuff used to be better in the old days.
Yeah, but we're glad that they're getting better in the new days as well.
Kind of. Shit's complicated, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope that you enjoyed listening to
old farts rambling.
Yeah, geezers like us sitting here having a piss about each other. But
I just love the fact that we can still meet up and have fun over board games 25 years later.
Oh yes, and I hope I will be able to do this to the way past the day of dementia. And
with a bit of luck, you'll be playing better.
If anyone from Games Workshop is listening to me, Doom of Valentine. Doom of Valentine. Make it a thing.
We should just have a test game where you play that with the old rules against my Imperial Guard. Just that one thing, going back 2 editions, just for that one unit, see what happens. The shortest game ever.
That was fun.
We need to make a poster of Doom of Valentine so you can look at it and cry.
Revive the Doom of Valentine.
Bring it back.
Let me cry of the Doom of Valentine.
I think that's a wrap. So thank you for enduring the rambling and the grumbling and the reminiscing, and
any comments will be welcomed.
Absolutely. So again, thanks for tuning in. Have a great whatever it is you're doing, and Bye bye.